Good morning, everybody. Everything new under the sun. Well, Kiev, Ukraine. Kiev has made it through the night. They are pushing back the Russians. They have set back the timeline that Putin set out to take Kiev. So good on the Ukrainian citizens and the folks in Kiev, where the government has been handing out weapons, AK-47s, as I understand, weapons anyways, guns to any civilian who will fight for the capital. I don't know how many military are actually there, but they're pushing off the Russian forces right now, holding them off. Now there's lots of foreign weapons as well going into Ukraine, Kiev specifically, to help hold off the Russians, and this is a reason for another delay. And Russia has now kind of increased what they are going to be doing. They're bringing in new weapons against Kiev, against Ukraine. I mentioned ICBMs. This is debka.com, debka.com, a military intelligence website. And they are saying now Russia is deploying ultra-heavy TOS-1 Buratino weapon on day 3 of the Ukrainian invasion. Now, this particular website has a video. This is the sun.com. This is apparently a video of the particular TOS-1 weapons, which are referred to as, which is a, let me see here, which is, let me skip the ad here, which is a thermobaric weapon. So let's have a quick look at this here. All right, so that's a look at this particular TOS what is it referred to as a thermobaric weapon, a Buratino thermobaric, and that the thermobaric weapon is one that actually decreases air pressure, and apparently, let me see, does it? They say this particular article says death from above fears Putin will deploy Russia's terrifying thermobaric rocket launchers that can explode enemies' lungs in Ukraine. Now, if that doesn't sound biblical, I don't know what does. Incredible and serious weapons. This is the next step towards nuclear weapons, effectively. So this is dated today, February 26th. Amid heavy fighting with Ukrainian forces, the Russian brought a version of a Moab, mother of all bombs, to Ukraine battlefield. On Saturday, the third day of their invasion, the TOS-1 Buratino, that's what you were watching, as well as cruise missiles fired from Russia's Black Sea Fleet, targeted Kiev and other cities where fighting rages. The Ukrainian Interior Ministry warned civilians early Saturday to stay off the streets. If you have a shelter, stay there, they're saying. Keep away from windows, because they could be blown out or even sucked out by these thermobaric weapons. Zelensky walked the streets and he was taking selfies. Just to confirm he's there to the citizens, so that they keep the faith and keep fighting. We're not laying down arms, he says. We will defend our state because our weapons are our truth. Now, apparently, there's something like 70 or 80% of Ukraine are Christians, apparently. Now, that may not mean born-again Christians necessarily, but they apparently part of the Catholic Church and Catholicism there. So very interesting. And there's worship services, prayer meetings, church services going on in the subways around Ukraine. I saw some videos on Twitter about that. Moscow has reportedly seized the southern port of Mariupol. Fighting continues in Odessa and other Ukrainian cities. The Russian defense minister said, released following figures of military operation thus far: 87 Ukrainian tanks destroyed, 7 Air Force planes, 9 helicopters disabled, 14 military airports struck, as well as 19 command centers. So they're going hard. They're wiping all the command and control and military assets that Ukraine has. So Ukraine doesn't have a lot. They're holding on by a thread at this point, and not much help is coming from Western nations. Ukrainian defense minister stated Friday that the first 2 days of war had resulted in the deaths of 2,800 Russian soldiers, destroyed 80 tanks, downed 17 aircraft and helicopters. So Ukraine is making a dent, if only a small dent. Russia, I'm sure, has a lot more coming. Western intelligence sources said Saturday morning judged that since Russia's forces advance lagged behind planning, because Kiev, Ukrainians are holding them off, the forces' advance has lagged behind the planning and has so far failed to capture Kiev. Putin had decided to escalate the operation with the heaviest weapon deployed by his army short of a nuclear warhead. The Thermobaric TOS-1 Buratino creates a massive blast wave and negative pressure. It was formerly deployed by Moscow in Afghanistan, Chechnya, Iraq, as well as in the operation for the capture of the airfield northern Syrian town of Aleppo in 2016. So, this is the weapon now that is likely going to be used against Ukrainian citizens, and Kiev itself. Just incredible. Look at this sort of weapon, and this may be a game changer in terms of taking Kiev or not. Once they bring in these massive weapons,
Core value.
What can you do about it as Ukrainian military and citizens when you just have AK-47s, whatever weapon you may have. So again, this could be a turning point, and they're not getting help from anybody else at this point, other than maybe some weapons flowing in from some NATO nations or neighbors, etc. So you need to pray for Ukraine, pray for the peace of the world, of the planet. We could be looking at World War III. I don't think it will start. I think a world leader will come in and say, stop the madness, and get everybody on his side, and the world will come together in a short moment of peace before a 7-year treaty is set up. And of course, along with that, mark of the beast, etc. So I think this escalates to the point where it gets near World War III. We get to the brink of World War III, and then a world leader comes up, and then at that point we can take a look at exactly what the world leader is going to do. And all about that, being the Antichrist. He's going to bring in a new world economy, a new world governmental system. We're going to lay down all our sovereign countries, all our sovereign currencies, and everybody's going to bow to this world leader and take the mark of the beast, except the Christians. And at that point in time, it's going to be hard. It's going to be near impossible for Christians all around the world to survive at that point. So we'll see where it goes. Things are escalating rapidly, and there's no sign of NATO coming in at this point, although there have been suggestions that, if there's any cyber attacks against a NATO nation, that would invoke, Article 5 or 6 of the NATO agreement, constitution, whatever they call it, to basically bring NATO nations into the fight, which would then be World War III. So we'll keep watching this, folks. Pay attention, be prepared. You don't know when a cyber attack could come at any moment, and we don't know what that's going to look like. That's why you need to be prepared, hedge against all sorts of different things, have ways of escape, routes, emergency routes planned, emergency backup procedures, thinking about what you're going to do in this case or that case, because it could come near you. Russia has hypersonic missiles, and the U.S. and in fact no country in the world that I'm aware of has any defense against hypersonic missiles. And the U.S. doesn't have hypersonic missiles themselves. So there is no mutually assured destruction at this point because of those hypersonic missiles. Russia and those, and I think China, and those countries that have hypersonic missiles now have the military advantage, the military edge, and maybe that's why NATO has no interest in going in there, because they know if Russia wanted to, they could bomb countries all over the world with those hypersonic missiles, and that would be, I think, catastrophic is probably an understatement with the way we use that word today. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll keep you updated. We'll see you in the next video.